Grandpa Junior, huh? Yes, you do. You look just like Grandpa Junior. Yeah. So, guess what we've got? Another really large pregnant mom, huh? Yeah. And you got an angry mom next door, huh? Don't we? You look just like Grandpa Junior. So, yeah. We're, yes. I feel like a dog nursery over here or something. But she came in, I think yesterday. Can you come sit next to me? No, you want to just sit on my lap? Okay. We can do that too. Yeah. So there was lots of questions last night about the dogs with the quills, and we kind of went on and answered. And I'm not upset about any of it. I'm not upset at anybody about asking questions. And, you know, here's a good way to sum it up. Because I've had quills in myself before. They don't really hurt when they're in. It's just more like weird and annoying. And when you pull the quill out, it hurts for like 5 seconds really bad. So the one dog that was really struggling towards the end, he had like 15 quills. So really that was a minute and a half of pain. In that case, there wasn't another option. You know, we don't have a lot of vets here. Maybe can you take her for a walk? Will she walk? Okay.
Every time she hears your voice, she barks.
Yeah. The dog next door hates my guts. Just doesn't like men. But yeah, there's just not vets around. You know what I mean? And somebody's like, well, can't you sedate him? No, we don't have the ability to sedate things because you have to be a vet to be able to get the sedatives. So we can't do that. Vets don't make house calls up here. I've never had a vet make a house call unless you've got like a herd of cattle. Then I've seen them do it. But short of that, they don't make house calls for dogs. So the other part of it is if it's after hours, then it's an emergency fee. So for those 4 dogs, it would have been like $1,200. And can you give them something over the counter to help with pain? Yeah, you could if you got them all to take it. And then if you waited for like a half an hour, 45 minutes, and it would give them 10% relief. But what it really comes down to is that you have to get the job done. You know what I mean? You have to get the quills out because the balance of it is on the back end. The danger of leaving them in and then getting infected and then continuing to travel and all of that stuff is way worse than just pulling them out. And that's what we did, you know, and I'm totally cool with it and I don't regret it. I don't whatever, you know, and I understand people, you know, it might have been a little bit, you know, scary to see or sad or hard to watch or whatever, but that was just one of those, this is the reality of it. We have to do things, you know, because there's just not other options. Why did he do it in the back of the truck? Well, in the back of the truck, because that's a good height to be able to have them, to be able to control them, you know, and as far as the way that she was putting pressure and leaning on them, like I had told her to do, one of my helpers that was one of the owners of the dogs, that's what you have to do. Because the thing is, if you don't restrain them and if you don't stop them from moving all over the place, they're going to struggle more. The more that they struggle, the more their heart rate is going to go up. The more that their heart rate goes up, the more that they're going to have a need for oxygen and they're going to breathe harder. And it just starts this whole systemic process, which is why you just talk calmly to them and then you pull them out, you know, and it sucks, but it is what it is, you know. You always have to look at what's the alternative. And, you know, if we don't have $1,200 to like, you know what I mean? Like we're here for you. Your dog gets hurt. Is there some place that you can go that you can be like, hey, I need $1,200 so that my dog can get fixed up. I don't have any money. And that they're going to be like, oh yeah, I got it. That's not being responsible with your donations. You know, so yeah. We do it the way we do it. And then one of the other questions that came up was, isn't there something topical for pain? With the quill, if it's that long, there's a tip of it that's that big that's black. And that's way down in there. So you literally you'd have to get some kind of topical thing that would go down like a 1/4 inch, which there's not. You could sit there and you could put lidocaine and poke them with lidocaine where every quill is, I suppose. But you know, on the flip side of it, while it's hard to watch, the way that I did it, if somebody else that doesn't have access to vet care, that doesn't have, you know, the knowledge, whatever, the method of doing it on the back of a truck like that and restraining him like that and doing it like that, I have done that hundreds of times. And somebody asked, well, you know, you should put a blanket down. If I put a blanket down on the back of the truck, okay, it's going to give that much padding to the dog. But now I've just created another unstable surface to work off of. So now I have the truck bed and then a blanket on top of it that's going to move versus having him just on the bed to where there isn't that other thing that's going to move. So that's why I do that. The towel, it helps me from getting bit. I got bit last night, but didn't break the skin and it wasn't a big deal. And no real pain. It was just a real light bite. So and I guess what my thing would be is I appreciate the input and the insight and the opinions, and that's totally cool. And I'm not offended and I don't feel like I'm defending myself. I'm having a conversation with all of you. And if you have a suggestion, I'm more receptive if you have experience with it. You know what I mean? It's like if you've pulled quills out of 10 dogs yourself and you're like, hey, I found out that this works, then by all means hit me up with it. You know, but if it's like I've never done accounting. You know what I mean? I've never done it. So if I saw an accountant like doing the books, I'm not going to be like, hey, you should put the 0 over on that side, move that column. No, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm just going to assume that since you're not bankrupt and you're not getting sued by the IRS, that you know what you're doing with the accounting thing. You know, in the dog, when I left, it gave the owner a big hug and dogs are all fine today. You know, and in a perfect world, it would be great to have a sedative and it would be great to have a vet that would come out and do it. It would be great to have, you know, a pet owner that could afford it. But the thing is, like I've said about up here a whole bunch of times, can I move my leg and you can sit in between my legs? Huh? No? Okay, we're just going to sit there. You're a little too big to do that with. Maybe. Tell you what, I'm flexible enough. Oh, I'll do that. And then now you can go ahead. You can sit down here like you wanted to. Now you don't want to sit down? Uh-huh. Come on. Why don't you come sit down here? Yeah. Come on. Oh, there we go. That's what we wanted to do. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyways, it's just what it is. You know, there's so many of the animals that are up here that people own that they didn't buy. That they literally, I can't tell you how many times it's this starving dog walked in and I didn't really want a dog, but I started feeding it because I felt bad for it, and then it started hanging around and then it became my dog. That is like a constant story up here, you know, so that's something to think about too, you know, because there's always going to be that question of, well, you know, you shouldn't have a pet if you can't afford it. Well, you shouldn't let something die if you have the ability to be humane at the same token. You know what I mean? We can put this whole onus on to, well, you shouldn't have one if you can't afford it, and you should have humanity and kindness if you see something dying and do something to stop it, because we can't keep up with the amount and the numbers. You know, that's why we work with other rescues. We've got like Coco's, they're taking a bunch of dogs this weekend. And that's a help, because when we move them out and we get the kennels sanitized, then we can bring other ones in that need rescue. So it's just kind of how the circle works. I think you're getting close, Missy. Yes. I think you're getting close, big girl. Yes. You look so much like Grandpa Junior. Yeah, you do. So we also have an event this weekend at Pet Supplies Plus in Minot. I'm not going to be able to be there, but Tatum's going to go, and she's going to bring some dogs down, and we're going to have some of our awesome volunteers down there. and we're going to be on a transport. So Wanda and I, so we won't be able to make it, but we're scheduled so that we can make it to all the rest of them, just not this one. What do you think, sweetheart? You just want those babies out? Yeah. You just want those babies out? This whole maternity ward thing we got going on here, huh? Yeah. Oh, you're such a nice girl. Yeah. You're such a nice girl. Yes, she is. So that was today. We had a thing with the health certificates to where we took 17 to go get health certificates. So, and that's the thing too to realize is when I say we took 17 for health certificates, that doesn't mean we're opening up 17 kennels. One kennel had 6 in it, and then another kennel had 6 in it, so that's 12 right there. And those were smaller ones, and the rest are all adults. So we'll be leaving with those early Saturday morning. What? What, sweet girl? So yeah, that was about it. Like I said, I appreciate everybody sticking up for me yesterday with the, he knows what he's doing, and I get it. You know what I mean? And if somebody that's new to the page and they don't know, and it's kind of a little shocking maybe to watch somebody pulling quills on the back of a pickup truck and a dog, screaming. But a part of that screaming is just from being restrained. If you actually go back and you watch that video, you'll see where I take the forceps and I'm just touching them with it and they're screaming when I'm touching them with it. It's not because it hurts. It's just they're being dramatic. It hurts when you pull the quill out, but then the in between, they're just making noise because that's what they think you're going to do. But yeah, I've never had a dog die from pulling quills. And I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, honestly, if I really had to think about it and guess, I would say that I've done it 500 times, at least. And there are times when it's really bad that we will take them to a vet and have them sedated and have helped out with that. And then we've got, CBD oil and melatonin and this herbal stuff, and it does help bring them down to where it makes it easier to do it, and it takes longer. But yeah, it's just there's just a lot of porcupines up here, and I'm telling you, porcupine tacos. I'm gonna find a recipe and I'm gonna make it, and people are gonna love it, and we're gonna cut down. We're gonna have a healthy balance of the porcupine population. Yes, because porcupines cause a lot of problems. Yes. Yes, they do, huh? Yes, you're a very sweet girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, I'm gonna go, okay? Yeah, hot mama. I'm gonna go, hot mama. I'm gonna go, hot mama. Hot mama. Yeah. Oh. All right, Marge. I gotta get up now, okay? Yeah. You're not gonna make this easy. You gotta move, sweetheart. I gotta get up, okay? I gotta get up. Come on. So now we're gonna have an instruction on how to get out of a whelping box. This part of the video, I don't really know what I'm doing, so it's not gonna be as good. Oh, there we go. We got it. We got it, yeah. All right, so we'll catch up with everybody tomorrow.